Alrighty, good morning or good afternoon, depending on when you're watching this. But my name is Erin Satterwhite David. I use she, hers pronouns, and I'm the Assistant Director for Membership here at ASHE. And I just wanted to welcome everyone to our first Toolkit session talking about events and event planning. So we're doing things a little bit differently since there is a lot of changing happening within our entity structure. I know that our chairs are going to be having another meeting with me tomorrow, talking a little bit more about how we can make sure that we get this information to you all in bite-sized bits that'll be easy for folks to understand and be able to go back to. So in this session, I have my colleague who is going to be doing a lot of the talking because she is the events queen. So I'll pass it over to Alicia to introduce herself, and then we'll go on ahead and get started.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Erin, for getting this event together. Alicia Castillo Shrestha, I use she, her pronouns. I'm the Associate Director for Conference and Events for those of you who I haven't had the privilege of working with yet. But I'm very excited about all the new changes and the new entities. Honestly, I think we're all going to be learning together, even for our staff. I was just telling Erin, I need a printout of all the new structure on my wall so I can start committing it to memory because it's a lot. It's a lot of exciting changes, but we're looking forward to partnering with y'all in developing events that y'all are interested in putting out there and supporting you all to the best of our ability on the staff side. So we're hoping that today's event will be helpful. And of course, y'all know how to reach us for questions at any time. This is not, of course, the end all be all of interacting and engaging and talking about events and how we do things. So happy to have this event to kind of kick off the conversation and continue it for those we've been working with. We appreciate your time and energy and all the thought and hard work y'all put into your events.
Absolutely. So we'll go on ahead, get started. We have just a couple of slides. If you are not new to your position, these slides might look a little familiar. Some of the information has been tweaked or changed. So this will be good not only as a refresher for folks, but also just paying attention because some deadlines, some timelines have changed.
So, the first thing we wanted to just briefly talk about is pre-conferences. And for those of you who have been a part of councils that have done pre-conferences in the past, you're well versed in the conference structure. And those of you who attended these events are also familiar. On the planning side, since we do have new councils, you as a council can create a pre-conference for the annual conference. And I'm the staff partner that you would work with in planning and executing your pre-conference. The timeline for pre-conferences would be that for future years, if your council is interested in doing a pre-conference, that's information we want to know the before the end of the year before. So we usually kind of make plans and get the structure set for the call for proposals. It goes live in February. So if you're planning on doing a pre-conference, you'd want to know that as a council the end of the year before, prior to that February where you want to launch your pre-conference information. Of course, we have a wonderful network of folks who've done pre-conferences for ASHE, so feel free to reach out to me or any of your colleagues that you know are kind of frequent flyers in terms of co-chairing pre-conferences. We'll be excited to talk to you about it. And we're really excited about this year having one, two, three, four, five councils offering pre-conferences. So this is just kind of an FYI if your council hasn't done one to get the information out there and to kind of let you know I'm open to talk about that process at any point.
Also, this is referring to a guide. There is a entity guide that we are still tweaking. I have the guide from previous years, and the information for pre-cons is very much the same. And so, for folks, as we are getting into planning for 2027, there will be a guide that kind of has the do's and the don'ts, and really the nitty-gritty on if you are interested in getting a pre-con started. For all of our councils, I believe we've had those conversations, and so we'll kind of get into that later on in the year, but that's what that guide is referring to.
Okay, so apologize for the small text. It's a lot of information, but you'll have will have access to the slides so you can go through it with your entities. The other another big chunk of our events that we support throughout the year are the standing professional development events that y'all put on as entities. And so these are things that are set every year. So for like CIHE, we have their networking roundtables. For CEP, we have the mentor protege program, etc. So we have these that are annual events that are recurring that we always know are going to be planned and executed. And so we have a set schedule and also guides, individual guides for these specific events. So in addition to the kind of the broader entity guide that Erin mentioned, for these types of events that have been recurring for several years in some format, we have a specific guide that we use and update every year to pull off these events. And I work again myself directly with the co-chairs of those events to get them going and to go through all the planning process on this timeline of about 7 months ahead of time. Y'all let us know who's going to chair the event, and then we start communicating. I share the guide that will be updated and used for that year, and then we work through all of the different steps leading up to it. So we try to make it as seamless as possible for those events that we know are going to happen every year. This is also important because we don't want council's events to be conflicting with other council events, right? So we try for these events that we know are going to happen. This is where y'all's pre-planning really helps out the entire ASHE community because we can make sure that our spring events are well spaced out. Same thing with the fall events. And so it really helps for us to know ahead of time what y'all are planning. For those of you who are new entities that might have events that you're like, we really want these, we envision these to be kind of staples of our entity. We want these to be recurring every year. Those are the kind of things that right now you'll work with Erin on. And she can pull me in as needed and as kind of as we go. Once they're kind of established, because this is new, like I mentioned, we're all learning together, we'll kind of figure out a way that makes sense for these new entities to have these standing events eventually move, shift. Does it make sense for me to be more involved, to support Erin? For those of you who have entities who are doing a lot of programming, it may just be kind of Erin and I work together to support you to make sure that you have everything you need. But just know that we're working it out as we go. We understand that the new entities may not have a lot of events that fall into this category and would work with me on. But I'm here as a resource and definitely will take Erin's lead on how we support you moving forward if this is something new for your entity. For those of you who've been around doing these types of professional development events, we just wanted to remind you about the importance of the timeline because especially now that we have a lot of new organizations programming for ASHE, it's going to be even more important. So we're really thankful for your pre-planning and letting me know how I can best support you in the process. Okay, so in addition to these standing professional development events, we also have kind of these one-off entity events. So sometimes councils will be like, we really want to bring in a speaker on this really timely topic. We want to have like a virtual event just around this specific topic, and it's not something we've done before, but we want to try it out. This also may be something that you've done a couple of times, but you really want to keep doing it. KHEP is a good example. They started a program coordinator corner, which has been a really great success. And so about um, every couple months, they've been offering these webinars for program coordinators. Um, so that type of event that's not like a standing event that involves all of what we just talked about follows this timeline. So it's more uh, condensed because usually these are things that you don't know ahead of time usually, but you might have an idea, and we are asking you to think a little bit about what you might want to offer so that we can help support you in that. But typically these we need about 8 weeks, just again to make sure there's no conflicting calendar issues, to make sure we can get everything set up in all the systems for you. So this will be a lot, I think, of what the new entities and for those of you who are returning, new ideas that y'all have that you want to get some programming around. This is the process where we're going to show you in more in depth towards the end of this meeting, but you fill out a form that then prompts our staff with a bunch of tasks to support the event. So you'd fill out the form letting us know we want to do an event on this date. This is what we need from the ASHE staff. And then we're going to show you kind of the back end of that so you can see then once we get that request in, what we do as a staff to support the event to make sure everything is ready to go. And so that for those events that you're planning as an entity, we ask for you to aim for that 8 week time frame to like put that form in, submit that planning form. But ideally, y'all, as you do your planning, if you haven't already, you're going to already kind of have an idea of what your year would look like. And if you're like, we know we want to kind of do an event every couple months, or we want to do two big events this year, or we just want to focus on this one thing, whatever the case may be, this is the timeline for events that are just kind of a one-off or something that you've done that's not as structured as some of the annual professional development events. I'm looking at this and thinking if there's any other things I want to hit on, but I think the other key pieces will come up as we kind of go through the actual process. Um, but yeah, we support you in these kind of one-off events the same way we do for the bigger events. So we offer the support for an ASH staff member to be there as needed and offer a rehearsal or run through and all of those things. We can also add additional pieces if needed. If your team wants to bring a staff member in to help with other things, we can also accommodate that with advance notice. So yeah, let's just give you an idea.
Yeah, and I think this might be like a newer thing. I know for me, I'm gonna try to be at every single event that happens that may not be able to happen. And so it might be that someone else will step in, but we are gonna try to have an ASH staff member at every event to make sure that you all have everything that you need, and it could be something as quick as just saying hi and just being there just for more support, or as Alicia said, something a little bit more intensive, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. But I just wanted to mention that I know that I have a personal goal this year of being at all of these events. It'll really depend. People might remember from last year that we had three events on the same day. And so we're really hoping that we avoid that at all costs this year. And so if you're thinking about that 8 week timeline, kind of just thinking that's about 2 months, that's going to be March, April time. So it might start to get a little packed in those months, in those weeks, in April and March. So kind of think about what you want, going ahead and get that in so that we can go on ahead, make sure that we have that spot saved for you.
Mhm.
So I'm going to go ahead and hop out of this, and we'll go into the event registration form.
So yeah, so this is the form that I alluded to in that we recently updated, I think, and it looks like we need to, I need to update this again with the top message there. But if y'all haven't bookmarked this yet as an entity leader, you'll want to do that so that you can find it. It's also in the entity guide that y'all have. It's in a lot of our entity emails that we send out. But this is the form that we need when you want to plan an event. So once you know, you don't have to, you'll be able to see, we need some basic information from you. And so sometimes we get questioned like, well, we don't know. Uh, some things are still kind of in flux. We're not sure about like the topic that speaker's going to talk about. That's totally fine. We'd prefer you send us the form as soon as you know the date. Um, that way we can plan ahead. We don't want you to send in a form with two different dates, like for the same event. So, like, let's say you're trying two different dates. We don't want to get two different forms because, as you'll see in a second, this form prompts a bunch of tasks based on the date of the event. So if we get two different ones, it's going to cause a kind of a clog in our workflow. And so we don't want to have that problem. But if you don't have to have like everything nailed down, even if you're like, we haven't decided exactly on the title, you can put in, you know, the best information you have. I would say the most critical thing for us is that date. So as soon as you have the date, um, then I or Aaron can work with you on if things are changing. You can follow up with us, or you can use the notes section. So, sorry, I'm like leaning in so I can see the info. But so you put in the information, that you have the title, the date, the time of the event. One thing I will mention, you might notice, with the time zones for ASH events. So this year, um, it's not that significant, but those people who are aware might notice. We're switching to Pacific time zone for all events that are not in person. Time zones are always a challenge, and even as a staff, we're always like, okay, because our staff is on different time zones, and so this year, what we want to move to having just Pacific time zone for all non in-person events for ASH. And so we typically follow like wherever the conference is being held, that time zone is the one we use. But especially because this year it's Puerto Rico, which is like Atlantic time zone, which is different. I mean, it gets a little complicated. So we're like, let's simplify, and we're hoping to just move forward with from now on, no matter where the conference is held, Pacific time zone for all non-in-person events. And so I think that's, yes, we stated that on this form. So you can see we're going to ask you for Pacific time zone. And I know I'm going to be following up and just confirming with people because this is new to say, is this time zone right? Is this Pacific? Is that what you intended? Because I know by default people go to their own time zone. They're like, it's 10 a.m. my time. So just pay attention to that. And then we want a description of the event, and this is what we'll actually put like on the website for the event, on the event. So as nicely as you can write it, because we just copy and paste. So we don't do a lot of embellishment. We just kind of take what you want to say about it and we put it into the emails, the website, and everything. So spend a little time there to describe what you want. And then, okay, so the other piece here, names, institutions, and emails for presenters and our facilitators. This is key for us. Sometimes we just get like the name of someone and their institution, and it's like an abbreviated institution. And so then we got to go look in like our ASH membership and like LinkedIn, like which person is this? So if you can be clear about the name, the email, the institution they're at, and then just know that who's presenting will need access to an ASHE account. They don't have to be a member, but if they're not a member, they need to create a free guest account, which is a simple, easy process, which we can walk you through just to access the Zoom links because they get sent directly from the ASH membership system with a unique code. So you can't just share a Zoom link, which some of you were used to a couple years ago, but that's changed. So just want to make sure maybe when you're identifying your speakers, it's a good time to plant that seed to say, hey, do you have an ASH account? If not, you can create a free one really simply. And if we have a second, we can maybe even show you how to do that. But yeah, so that's important for us to put the detail there. And then let's see. Yes. So meeting versus webinar. I think the information is here. Meetings usually serve the purpose pretty well. Webinars are great for larger groups and also kind of a look you might want, but they also do cost money. Actually, I'm looking, I'm like, I can't, I'm like, does it say here if we talk about the fee? I think,
Yeah, there may be a charge. It says, please note that there may be a charge for a webinar set up through Zoom, just because we don't have that as a default. And so every time we need a webinar, we have to add that on. So,
yes, yeah. So just be aware. So then your council or your entity will be charged for that. That'll go against your budget. So just wanted to, if you absolutely need a webinar, I can't remember what the fee is. We can ask. Maybe we can add that information into the entity guide or this form so that y'all are aware. But yeah, usually meetings work pretty well. Let's see. Yep, and then you just let us know what you need. If there's anything else you need to upload, you can do that as well. Yes, so that is the form.
yeah, and I can take over for what happens on the back end. So I know that this looks a little overwhelming, but don't worry, I'll walk you through it. This is Asana if people are not aware of it. It's the way that we organize all of our tasks and all of the different projects that we have going on to support you all. And so once that event is sent, then we get a bunch of automated tasks going through because of the way the workflow is set up, which is really nice. It used to be that we did these things um, by ourselves, but that does mean that when you do send something in, there's a lot of moving steps. So I pulled this one up because we have KHEP actually filled out a form like 2 days ago, and so I had this up. I wanted to show it as an option. So every time someone fills out a form, as you can see, we have these tasks that pop up, and from there, I get 17 tasks that I then have to look through, make sure that I make sure that are delegated, right? So it's not just going to be an Alicia thing or a me thing. Briante has tasks that pop up for her. Jason has tasks that pops up for him. And so it really is a group effort when we're putting all of these one-off groups together. And so it is imperative that you give us as much time as possible so that we're able to get all these things done. So as you can see, like I go through, it actually creates a Google Doc of all of your responses when you submit it. And so I'll go through, if I have any notes or if Jason has any notes, we'll follow up with you basically within 24 hours, just to say, okay, so we had a question about this or we saw this. Um, do we need to hold off on XYZ thing? As we mentioned, it is important for you to have at least a little bit of information, especially that date, in order to send it out, but you may not have your copy ready. So you might put in copy that is not necessarily what you want to send out. And so this is the time where I will work with you to see what things need to be updated, adjusted within what you have sent in. But then from there, as you can see, like we have to create your event email. We're putting in content into the listserv if that's necessary. We put it on several different calendars. Um, we're sending it all these things to you for approval. There's a lot of back and forth. We're getting accessibility information. We're sending that to you. And then at the end, we staff the event and then we send things out after the fact on your behalf if we need to. So I know that for folks that are well versed in events, they know kind of a bit about this process, but we really wanted to show you all for the first time just how much goes into like a 30-minute to an hour long event, so that we can make clear how important it is for us not to have three of these events on the same day, because then that becomes just kind of a mess. So yeah, that's just a little bit about the process. So I don't know if I missed anything, Alicia, or if there was anything else that you wanted to touch on in this section.
No, yeah, this is thank you, Erin. I think this is really helpful. I do, and this might be a conversation for another time, I think, because we have a specific like marketing toolkit session planned for the future. But I did want to mention, like, along with events, because these are questions that I know I've been getting, is since we moved to our new system, our management system and our new website, things are a bit different and we don't have the same capabilities that we had in our old website in terms of like adding pictures of all the speakers really easily and things like that. So I just wanted to name that that is still something that we're trying to find a way, kind of find a balance, because it is, especially being one full staff member down as well. There's only four of us and we don't have a specific marketing person. And so we've been trying to figure out, okay, how can we best promote these events, provide great materials, provide a great website, but also knowing that sometimes it's not as robust as we'd want. And also sometimes entity groups have like their own vision or their own marketing person that wants to create things. And so I would say with those questions, let's work with Erin and myself on specific questions, because we do have a brand guide and now our logo's copyrighted. So we can't just be going rogue and creating ASHE materials, but we do recognize that what we have been able to do so far hasn't been as robust as we'd like. I think this is an ongoing conversation of how, and we're working with our website host to say, why can't we do this? Like easily, we want to be able to put pictures on our website of our different events. And so this is something that is being talked about. I just wanted to name that and recognize that I know folks have other avenues too to like promote your events. And so we can, there's a separate form, which we'll probably go over on the toolkit and it's in your entity guide to create materials, ASHE, official ASHE materials. And so I think that's something we can also utilize and figure out how we can best kind of hit a good medium with staff support and ability and bandwidth with what y'all want with your entities. So I just wanted to bring that up since we're talking about events and promotion of the events is a big piece, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up. It is really important. There is going to be another video coming with some more general information for a lot of our new folks and for folks who aren't so new to kind of get the general gist of um, where to find things, what the expectations are. That was supposed to come in December, but then life happened, you know. And then we're also going to have another toolkit session that's going to be specifically around these pieces with social media and marketing and our new brand guide. And so there will be also dedicated time for us to talk in person around a lot of these topics so that we can get those questions answered as well. So that is kind of the broad strokes of the events. I know that we have some people here that are with us live, and so we'll go into a question and answer portion. And so I'll probably turn off the recording for that. But if anyone who's watching this after the fact has questions, like we mentioned, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm kind of like that first point of contact. If I think I can't answer that question, then I can pass it on to Alicia. But if you have any questions about anything that we've talked about in this session, I'd be happy to hop on a call with you or to just send you an email kind of talking through any of those pieces. Alicia, do you have anything else before we end the recording?
Just thanks, gratitude. ASHE is a volunteer-run organization. Y'all do amazing events. We're always talking like in our Slack for the staff, like I'm sitting in this an event and it's so amazing. It's like we're really, I mean, I know it's a highlight for a lot of us every week of getting to sit in and be a fly on the wall in all the amazing programs that y'all put together. So thank you for doing this. Thank you for the labor. We really do want to make this as seamless as possible. We don't like telling y'all no. We like being able to meet you where you're at and make it happen. So all of these pieces that we're sharing today, the goal is to make it, as seamless as possible for y'all. We know this is just a slice of what y'all do in your day to day. So hopefully this is helpful and know that we are running along with you and we want to make this easy on you. So thank you for serving in your position for ASHE and thank you for putting these amazing events together. Look forward to working with you.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you so much, Alicia. And for folks who are watching the recording, thank you so much for taking a slice out of your day to hang out with us.